everybody would love to go with Cedar if it weren't for the maintenance aspect of it. Hey there, I'm Nick, a designer with Cascade Fence and Deck, and I'm going to be breaking down a few projects with you. They had purchased this house not too long ago, and they were doing a ton of remodeling with it, so the deck definitely needed to be redone. They knew the layout, they wanted it to stay fairly close, vibing with the overall remodel they were doing on the interior of the home as well, which involved a lot of natural wood. One of the big concerns was there's a walking path along the back side of the house that the deck faces, just making sure like this is a nice presentation area that you'd want to go hang out on. They knew they wanted a composite. Just kind of getting the right color family for them was one of the more important things with the decking. And then for the skirting, wanting to keep that same modern vibe, horizontal, along with the cable railing, but having it be a wood look to kind of contrast and also complement basically all the nature in the area. The original deck, second floor area that bumps out over the lower deck, was essentially waterproofed, and they wanted to maintain that waterproof space underneath the main deck to still be able to utilize that year-round. So we ended up going with the gray zip-up. Blends in very well with the color scheme when you're looking at it from afar, and even right on top of the deck. The biggest change, I think, now that this project is done is that they're going to feel that now that their home is complete, they can finally relax, feel comfortable, confident, have fun on their deck, and feel great about the curb appeal and pathway appeal of their home. If I could give some tips, take the time that you need to consider how you're going to utilize the space. In this case, Lori and Martin hadn't been living in this home for too long. If they weren't going to use that lower deck, it wouldn't make sense to do the waterproofing. But just to kind of work through all the specific details and concerns before making a decision to just rebuild everything as it was. They've been in the house since 2009. Plenty of time for them to figure out what they like and don't like about their space and how they use it. They have this enormous, gorgeous, big maple tree over the deck. As lovely as it is, maples are probably the biggest mess maker of trees. So wanting a patio cover to help deal with that aspect as well as make it a year-round usable space. But overall, keeping the same shape vibe. From early on, they knew they wanted to keep the all cedar look. I think it's kind of hard to beat. If it is under a patio cover, it really cuts down on a lot of that maintenance you need to do on cedar. But just keeping that natural aesthetic with the whole area, it really does have an awesome look, the cedar deck. I think everybody would love to go with cedar if it weren't for the maintenance aspect of it. I do think it was an excellent idea that they wanted to go with a aluminum railing, matches with the patio cover and the lighting fixtures that they chose. For lighting on patio covers specifically, there's so many options out there, and so they, I think, chose a really cool aesthetic to go with the chandelier style that they have in there, and then the two hanging lanterns on the front. When that's done in these exposed wood type of patio covers, it's just a super cool lighting effect at night. The biggest changes they're probably feeling is enlarged deck space, totally covered, outdoor lighting, just providing an overall bigger space to allow them to entertain, enjoy the outdoors year-round. If I could give some tips on a project like this, if somebody's considering wood, just be ready for what you might be getting into as far as the maintenance side of it. So planning for that, of course. With that big maple tree or any sort of nature elements that are very close or kind of integrated with the project, really planning on how nature is going to integrate with your deck when it's one of these sort of scenarios. For enlarging sort of an existing layout like they had, there were some pathways around the outside of the deck, so just considering the overall flow of anything. One of my favorite projects, I would say, just the overall aesthetic that they chose. It's just super awesome project. This was going to be part of another sort of overall transformation with some interior remodels. They wanted deck space and access from that deck space to get down to the backyard without having to go through the house. Got a kid on the way at the time they were working on this, So wanting a railing gate, make sure things are safe, of course, for soon to be young kiddo running around. Design process took, I think, about a month overall to kind of hash everything out. One of the difficult portions of this was coordinating timing with the door installs versus the deck work and wanting to make sure that all flows well. I would say the main consideration in this case was getting as much deck space as possible, but only having one beam and row of footings or posts to support that. And so that provided overall limitation on how far can this deck go. We ended up just making a small change with the framing. We increased the size of the joists to be able to get a little more distance past the beam and still have it feel rock solid. They ended up going with just a single color for the entire deck, not doing a two-tone, going with like Sierra and dark slate, for example. They ended up going with just Sierra for the entire project. The stairs aspect of the project was pretty cool. Not everyone does stairs from the kind of a second floor deck down to the ground, but with the configuration of their house and how they wanted to utilize the space, they wanted to be able to do that. So, and with a gate on it, gives them a nice secure space for kids upstairs. A couple of things they could potentially add in the future to maybe round off the overall area. Potentially lighting for the stairs would be the main kind of safety area if they plan to use the space a lot at night. If they do want to utilize some of that space under the deck, potentially doing zip up or patio cover over the top of it to give both upstairs and downstairs waterproofing. Some tips in this particular case: if you want access from an upper deck down to the ground, how do you want that flow to be? Stairs turn an area of a deck into sort of a hallway wherever kind of the direction of travel is. So in Andy's case, we were able to stick it off to the side so it doesn't impact the use of the deck space. And then also from underneath, they've got the windows looking out, doesn't get in the way of the windows. Several little things to consider with stairs. One other tip with pairing up interior remodels, especially in the case of a door with doing a deck or something like that. We deal with all sorts of different trades while we're doing our projects. We always are happy to coordinate on schedules and stuff like that, but just making sure no one is stepping on each other's toes or having to undo one trade's work just to get in and do their project, and then somebody else has to come back and redo or work harder than they need to. We don't want that to happen. They want to make some changes, not too much with the deck itself, but the flower bed area that's off to the side, essentially. So the existing deck was wood, very well worn. Some boards have been replaced. The garden bed area off to the side was not in great shape either. So just kind of wanting to overhaul all that and then put some more permanent materials in, composite and aluminum railing. So for the privacy screen off to the side of the deck, or of course close to the corner of the house, there was an existing fence there, partial privacy, partial lattice style of fence. It's definitely needing to be replaced as well, but they still wanted to keep a little bit of that natural aesthetic. With that being, they were still going to use it as a garden area. Once the new deck is put in, it's just going to be an all flat garden area. So to still make sure it lasts as long as possible, we went with steel posts wrapped in cedar and then added some lights to it just to make it sort of an accent wall, give it a lot of character over there and make that garden space really cool to hang around in at night. When you're doing a multi-tiered deck like that, when they're connected basically just by one step as opposed to having two-tiered deck where they're several steps apart, alternating that decking direction can be a really cool way to give it more contrast and more character. Going with the two-color tone option with Mesa and Kaya, the border just provides that extra character and sort of a visual safety, clearly marking where your step down is going to be. So for their decking, with having that old wood deck and being tired of the maintenance aspect of it, not wanting to do that anymore, composite was the clear choice for them. They didn't really want to consider wood for that particular case. And with decorators, it's the main brand that we install. It's the highest traction stuff out there and doesn't have a lot of issues with expansion and contraction, those sort of things. So it's a really great fit for the Pacific Northwest. One tip for a project like this where the main addition was lighting, kind of considering what areas you want to accentuate with the lights. There's not much railing on this deck, so one of the common areas, a deck that's going to have railing all around, is going to be lighting all along the railing. But in this case, we're highlighting just some of the nature elements of the area. And with the lighting, it doesn't necessarily have to be done at the same time as the deck project. Depending on where lighting is going, it can definitely be a little easier to do it when we're building the deck, but it is something that can always be added later on and added to later on. So if down the road they decide that they do want to add more lighting, landscape lighting in the yard, can absolutely do that. I guess a final thought on all these projects we've been going over this time is a lot of these customers already had a really good idea of what they wanted before they contacted us. That doesn't always need to be the case. Just know that you don't need to have a complete picture of what you want it to look like. We are more than happy to help you realize that vision, whether it's making something larger, reducing something. Our concern is just going to be making sure you get what is the right fit for you and that you're happy with it for years to come. Thanks for your time. I hope you learned something, and be sure to reach out if you have any questions.